Hey everybody, welcome to Bass Gear Magazine. I'm Scott Spires, and I'm here with the super, awesomely special guest, Mr. James Tobias from Audic Empire.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. I read your Facebook post, so you've already worked what, 17 hours today?
Yeah, something like that. It feels like 17. It was more like 9 with a couple hours of driving.
It's the glamorous life of a rock and roll star, right?
I know. I wasn't sure. I didn't know that's what I was signing up for, was doing 2 full-time jobs, but that's part of the deal at this level, I guess.
Well, welcome to the biz, kid. That was supposed to be a cigar. So, Bergantino, you had a situation where you interacted with them, and next thing I know, Bergantinos, they did an interview with you, I think.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes. Yeah, I have a Bergantino amp that I've had for a few years now. I absolutely love it. I was having some issues. I called customer service and talked with a very friendly and knowledgeable gentleman over there who helped me troubleshoot. And then as he was getting off the phone, he was like, "By the way, I'm Jim Bergantino. It was nice talking to you." And I was like, "Oh man, didn't realize I got in touch with the owner." And I was so blown away by it that I did a post about it and just like, this is so cool, that, I have such a quality gear. And then I called customer service and I actually talked to the owner. That's so cool. And I guess they saw it and liked it. And, next thing you know, I'm doing interviews and all kinds of stuff. So it's super cool.
you work your ass off like for years. Nobody pays any attention. You break something, and the next thing you know, boom.
Yeah, exactly. So it was completely unexpected. I didn't think that was going to happen from that, but I'm very happy that it did.
Well, luckily it all happened because it got me familiar with Audic Empire. There's a video, and I'll have links down below for this video. All I can say is, everybody, this is must watch. Like, my interview might, but you got to watch this video. It is amazing. Within 10 seconds, I was hooked. I sent it. I have a side gig with, I manage and edit Clean and Sober Stoner. So I sent it out to the crew, and they all send these things like, hell yeah. That wasn't the language, but I want to keep, we got to keep this family friendly. Everybody went nuts over it. My girlfriend rolls her eyes every time I send her music. So I sent her that video this morning, and next thing I know, she's like, oh man, I love this. So check it out below. Audic Empire, how long have you guys been together? How long have you been a thing?
We've been playing together for about 13 years, I want to say, somewhere around there. I always say a number, and then I'm like, I'm not sure if that's completely correct, but it's in that ballpark. And then Ronnie, the other singer and rhythm guitarist, him and I have actually been playing together even longer than that. We had another band before Audic Empire, and we played for I want to say a few years. So him and I have been playing for a long time.
It shows. So I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, what did you start out playing covers, or did you start out original, doing all original?
No,
how did that?
Pretty much all originals. When I met him, we were living in the same apartment complex, and I would do a lot of like Sublime covers and stuff, and he liked Sublime a lot. So that's kind of where we met in the middle. And but I was already doing my own music, and so we just started writing pretty much immediately. And the thought of doing a bunch of covers never really occurred to us, but I guess that's how most people kind of start off. But yeah, we just went right into originals.
How tough is it? I mean, Austin's one of the most competitive markets in the country. How do you start out as an unknown band and stay around for 13 years in an area that, honestly, it's put a lot of really old, experienced people, they tap out after a while. What was that journey like?
That's a good question. We definitely played a lot of gigs for, beer and pizza and stuff. And, I mean, we definitely weren't making a living doing it. So it was more, just the love of playing. I really think that's what it was. So we would just take any gig that we could get and, put in our hours. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating, a lot of times, but it's the little wins, I think, that kind of keep us going. Just one opportunity after another, and a good show, and it kind of cancels out all of the the bad ones, I guess, over the years. And so now we're kind of feeling like we're getting somewhere, I think. So
Yeah, it sure sounds like it. I tried to do a little bit of a deep dive. Do you have any albums out, or are there any like EPs that people can get their hands on?
yeah, we've got I want to say we've got 3 albums available on, or no, 4 albums, I think, available on Spotify, iTunes, and all that stuff. And then we've got probably, I want to say 4 singles out since our last album. And we're just stacking those up until we've got another album. But we've got a lot of music on the way, actually.
Oh, you have more coming?
2 tracks that were, we've got two tracks that are being mixed and mastered right now by 2 different producers. And we've actually already filmed the videos and everything too. So it's more just, we're waiting on the film crew, same film crew that actually did the last video, Takeover.
And that was White Owl?
White Owl, yes.
White Owl. Okay. This is not sponsored. This isn't, we're not getting remunerated for this. Holy crap, those guys are good.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Xavier and Zach over there. They're awesome. So I can't thank them enough, and huge shout out to them. They're really fun to work with and do just a really quality job.
So part of the other gig that I'll mention gratuitously for self-promotion, I work with the young up-and-coming bands, usually a little bit heavier. So I did some calculations last night. That was not cheap.
Yeah, it's not. But it's definitely, it's reasonable what they charge, especially considering the quality. So I think it's worth every single penny for sure.
So, but you still went all in, like the whole band. I'm thinking you mortgage a couple houses, you sell the wife's car, but seriously, that's a lot of money. How long is it recently that the band has gone all in, or because that's a hell of a commitment?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always gone as far in as we can. I mean, we're not putting up. In the past, I think we've had people sponsorship deals and things like that, and people help us out with things and everything, and that still happens a little bit along the way. But we've finally got to a point now where we're actually taking a certain percentage from the shows and saving up and really just trying to be as smart financially as we can and put money where we can. And treat it more like an investment for the future, as opposed to, splitting up everything. We did that for a long time, and it just didn't make sense in the long run. It's like, we need to be saving and putting money towards marketing and videos and tracks. And, if we have a quality product, then we can make more down the road. So it's a slow process.
It is,
but it pays off eventually, hopefully.
I was talking to a fairly mid-level band about 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about guitar technique with them and equipment. And I asked him, what is the smartest discipline you've picked up as a guitar player? He said, learning Excel. And he wasn't kidding. Being able to do auto sum on the columns and, tell the difference between red and black. He was serious that once he invested in the spreadsheet, in keeping track of everything, figuring out where the finances are, that was the moment for them that they went next level.
Yeah, and that's what we did a couple of years ago. I actually was the one that started doing all of that stuff and using Google Sheets and getting everything on paper. And this year we've actually finally hired an accountant to take that up to the next level. So we're really trying to, basically every time we do something, I try to do it a little bit better than we did before. And, finances is definitely one of those things. And so I'm going to try to make it better this year than it was last year. And, so far that plan has worked. So if we just keep with that trajectory, then everything should be
Okay.
good.
So back to the music. Julie asked me, before she listened, like, what? Because yeah, I listened to some extreme stuff, so she wants to know ahead of time. I described your sound as Cake meets Rage Against the Machine meets Bob Marley.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I haven't heard that before, but I can see that.
There were there's nothing derivative about that song. I think it is completely original and fresh, but with so many smart references to so many different parts. What are
Thank you.
can you name influences? I hear Blink 182. There's so many. So the band, like, do you all get together and talk about, well, let's do this part a little bit like, I don't know what bands you listen to, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, rarely, honestly. It's just kind of what comes out. And sometimes I look back and then kind of analyze it and see like what was I thinking there. But there's definitely certain times it's like, oh, this one song they did this thing. Well, I'm going to do that, or that sounds like this, and so you can make some connections and everything, but it's rarely intentional. Yeah, I always tell everybody. I mean, we all come from different musical backgrounds and stuff, and we all kind of met on Sublime, like I said before. So I think that's what kind of like the glue that keeps it all together and kind of what defines our genre is, like we're the reggae rock band or whatever. But I mean, we're really all over the place. And I always tell everybody at the heart, we're a rock band, but we happen to do a lot of other different styles and stuff as well. So yeah, we're kind of all over the place.
when And by the way, when you listen to the video out there, make sure you're using headphones. The sound is great, but as well produced as it sounds like human beings are playing the instruments. Human beings are singing. I didn't really catch a lot of auto tune. I didn't catch a lot of, computer drummer type stuff. Do you like? Do you strive to, when you're recording something, that you want to be able to pull that off live?
Yeah, and it becomes kind of a challenge. I mean, when we started off, we didn't really do anything on computers or anything. We just, that was what we played was what it was, and then we would go and record in the studio, and it was very much, the traditional way of doing things. Since then, I've been producing. Ronnie, our other singer, he produces. Our keyboardist produces. So there's a lot of stuff we can do on the computer now and with demos and everything. But the goal, at least for me, is, let's like Takeover, for instance. I did that, in my bedroom studio, and I had electronic drums and I had synthesizers and all kinds of stuff that was creating all of those, each element of that song, other than the guitar and the bass, that I'm playing. And then it was like, okay, well, let's start replacing all that stuff with us. I want to have my drummer do his thing, and I want to have the sax on there, and I want to have so we replaced everything with guitars and all that stuff. And so yeah, I try to keep it as true to what we would sound like live without any backing tracks or anything like that. I think backing tracks is something that we're probably going to implement a little more moving forward, just for little stuff, but I don't want it to be like we're playing to a track, I want it to be very tasteful and not really noticeable.
So you're not old enough to take the Motley Crue, Kiss, and I guess Glenn Frey and the Eagles, same thing. Like, they're recording their vocals. So yeah, keep it real, dude. Keep it real.
Yep. Yeah. No, I want it to be authentic.
And I could talk for an hour about one song. That's how much I love a song. I read in the interview this was a throwaway track. You didn't think, you just came up with it and then went, whatever.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I was tracking it at home by myself. My wife was out of town, and I was kind of having fun. And I sat there for like 3 hours by myself and just made this thing. And I was kind of laughing at the time I was doing it. I thought it was kind of ridiculous. And then it kind of just sat on my computer for a little while, and then the guys liked it, and then like I said, we started replacing stuff and making it more sound like us. And then before you know it, we had another track, and again, I still was like, I don't know if we want to release this.
So let's talk about you, young man.
Okay.
As I understand it, you started out with those little itty bitty 6-string suckers that grab into your finger, and it's like a cheese slicer.
Yeah, those strings are always breaking too. Yeah, I started on guitar, and I started pretty young, honestly, taking guitar lessons when I was a kid. And yeah, I think my first band, I was in middle school, and I played guitar and sang, and not very well, but I was got the experience though. And yeah, I ended up moving to bass simply because we couldn't find a bass player when I met Ronnie. So it was kind of just drawing straws. But my girlfriend at the time, her brother had a bass amp and a bass I could use. So I'm the one that ended up making the most sense learning it. So I wasn't really too stoked about it. I wanted to play guitar,
Mhm.
but after a couple of years, once I started kind of settling into it, now I love it. So I think I just had to start thinking of it like a bass as opposed to me playing guitar on a bass.
A lot of my
If that
favorite
makes sense.
guitar player, sorry, a lot of my favorite bass players, Geezer Butler with Sabbath, he started on guitar. Greg Lake with King Crimson, he started out on guitar. I mean, the list is long. I've always felt that guitar players have an advantage in that they know the chords. So they're going to
Hmm.
understand what a diminished seventh is, what an augmented fifth. I'm assuming there are such things. I'm a straight bass player. I don't know what those things are. If I look at a keyboard, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Do you find that because when I listen to your music and there's a lot of depth to it, your bass part is extremely like Paul McCartney tasty.
Okay. Thank
Do you think that gives you an advantage, knowing the chord structure a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, my knowledge of theory is very minimal.
Hmm.
But I think given that I write on guitar and I do understand the guitar, I think that probably does help. I rarely start a song with a bass line. It's usually with guitar and vocals, and then I have a bass line that, I'll usually play around with a few different ideas until I find something that meshes well. Yeah, I think anything musically is going to be an advantage, and it just
Hmm.
kind of be able to take those fundamentals and move them around.
You get this thing that has 4 strings on it, and it's like, okay, kid, ready, go. Who did you listen to? I like, where did you start learning the boom, boom, the basics of this thing?
I basically learned what not to do and stopped doing those over and over again. I didn't really have much direction. I'll be honest. Um, I just kind of played around with it, and whatever sounded good, was what we stuck with. And
Were
and
there any bands or songs that you played along with to kind of get a feel of it?
the only one I can think of, it's funny I keep bringing up Sublime, but I would say,
No,
I mean, the
it's
first,
fine.
yeah. The first band I think I listened to where I actually even picked out the bass line was probably Sublime. So I'd have to say Eric Wilson would probably be my biggest influence. But
Well, he's one of the most underrated bass players, definitely of that generation, because he's competing against Flea. At least he didn't start out trying to do Red Hot Chili Peppers. Um,
yeah,
but Sublime is defined by their bass lines. It's very
yeah, yeah.
simple. It's very punchy. Good low end. So I can think of far worse people to start with. So what was your first bass? Do you remember?
My first bass was, well, the first one I bought was a Lion. It was by Washburn. I got
Oh,
it at a
okay,
pawn shop
okay.
for $100. Yeah, and then I ended up replacing the pickups on it with some active pickups. I can't remember which ones I got exactly. I think it was a P&J setup, and it still didn't play very well, despite having better pickups. And then I played a PV for a little while, and maybe another. There might have been a cheap Ibanez sound gear that I played for a little bit too. I basically just, pretty much had just really cheap basses for a long time, and then I had a buddy of ours that was a fan. He actually bought me a Soundgear Premium Ibanez, and that's the one that I played on for years.
Yeah, and right now you have a pretty good looking. I'm pretty sure that's an Ibanez you have in the video.
It's another premium series, but it's a 5-string BTB, and I love it. It's an awesome bass.
And as I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out exactly what that was because I couldn't tell. I kept trying to pause the video and go, "What is that thing?"
Yeah,
it's a gorgeous
BTB premium. Yeah,
I have to give Ibanez another look because that thing it's absolutely gorgeous. How much does that beast weigh?
A lot. It was honestly the drawback with it. I will say it's pretty heavy. The sound gear that I had before is considerably lighter. I mean, this one, I mean, granted, it does have a 5th string, so I guess it's going to be a little wider neck. That's going to add some weight, but I mean, it's got to weigh probably twice as much as that last one.
I would imagine. For you, what's the advantage of having that 5th string? Like, do you tune to E standard and then it's on B, or what do you guys tune in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just got that extra low on there. The reason I got it honestly is because, like I said, Ronnie and I both produce, and he was doing demos and was getting like these sub hits and stuff on some of his tracks, and I didn't have. I didn't have the low enough. I wasn't able to get low enough. And so I got the 5. So I was like, well, I'll just play that on there, and it worked. And I've been implementing it to more and more songs. Takeover was one of them. I do use that 5th string on there. But man, it's fun. And some of the songs that we've been playing for years, I realize on these like heavier breakdown parts, I can go a little further down and then on a lower octave, and it's sweet, man. It's really fun. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a little unnecessary when I first got it, but now I really like it.
Oh no, I mean, I play multi-string. I play 5-string and 6-string because I'm lazy. I don't like going up and down the neck. If I can get like 2.5 octaves in one hand position, I'll take it.
Yeah. And that's also another perk, is being able to
it is a nice perk.
Keep that box there,
Just keep the box, just know your shapes and just go back and forth. Any particular strings you think that are working better on that B2B than others? Like, what are you throwing on there? It's Bass Gear magazine, man.
Yeah, I know. You caught me off guard with that one. I don't know what I put on. I got it set up when I first got it, and I haven't thought about it since.
Wait, okay. How many years have you been using the same strings?
No, since I think it's been 2 years now, probably close to 2 years.
Oh man, you are in for a treat. If you replace those, by the way, I will probably not put this section in, so don't worry. I
hardly ever change my strings.
I can just see the trolls right now. Damn it, change the gosh darn strings. He's got no harmonics.
Yeah. There's certain things that I do that definitely people wouldn't agree with. But
I used to use jazz flats. Those things, I keep those on for 7 years. I'd buy a set of like GHS boomers. I'd keep them on for like 3-4 years because they get mellow. They have that nice, really low end and then a smooth mid range, no top end. So no fret clank. So I'm all about, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, well, with our genre, it really does make sense because I know the guys will complain when I change the strings because they're like, oh, why you sound like that? You take the highs out. I'm like, it's just what they sound like. It sounds good to me, but
you know what?
Just
Heck with it. I'm gonna stand for bass players everywhere with old strings. We're keeping this one in. We're not editing that out. Damn it! Come on. In fact, I want to know in the comments below, right? How long should a bass player keep their bass strings? Right here, Bass Gear magazine. Let's go. Let's have the debate.
Bring it on. There you go.
Okay. As I understand the myth of James Tobias, that you had problems with an amp and you were a little dubious switching over to the Bergantino because it was half the size of the cab. Can you Can you enlighten us a little bit on how that
Y-
all came about?
Yeah. So more specifically, I was using a SVT7 MPEG head with a full refrigerator cab,
Which are
and I
great,
was
by the way. Before we
yeah,
go on, those are legendary for a damn reason. And
yep,
but there are reasons to use more modern configurations.
yes, and
Our
I would
backs being
say
one of them.
for that was the reason I was going to say, and all of the cars of my friends and family that I've
Oh
ruined
yeah.
over the years, pulling that cab in and out of the back seat. So I screwed up a lot of stuff, banged a lot of walls, and yes, like my back can't do it anymore. But yeah, so I was using that, and it actually caught fire at a show. Um, Not like flames, but it started spilling smoke from behind it, and it was fried. So I had to find a new amp before we went on tour, and I think we are going on tour like a week later or something. And yeah, my buddy's dad, who my buddy, he was a bass player in my metal band at the time, and his dad plays with a bunch of country artists and stuff. And he had this amp sitting in his closet, and he was like, if you want to buy this Bergantino, and I'd never heard of the brand before. And so I was a little apprehensive. I was like, I don't know anything about this amp. It seems small and all this stuff. And he's like, well, come try it out. Bring your bass, plug it in, and give it a test run. And I went over there and plugged it in. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take it. So, man, I fell in love with that thing. And yeah, it's got such a great tone. I can get it as loud as I need. And then the weight of the head is crazy. It's like nothing. I could throw it in a backpack if I wanted to. And
Yeah.
as you know, the SVT7 with the road case and all that stuff that I had to have, it was really really heavy. So it was a really nice upgrade.
When you're gigging, are you using stage volume or do you go, direct out into the front of the house?
Yeah, we still have stage volume. I mean, I think everybody's just still more comfortable having amps and all of that. I think at some point, well, I'm on in ears, and our other singers on in ears, and eventually I'd like to get everybody on them. But I still like to have my amp on too, though. I like to feel it behind me, and even if they do have the subs going, it's just I
Well,
I
at least
like it.
you can feel
Yeah,
it, and but you can hear
yeah,
everything
yeah,
with the in ears.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
What kind of effects, if any, are you sporting on your rig?
None. Yeah, I'm a real meat and potatoes kind of guy. I just have
Wait,
the bass tone, and that's it.
so you're getting the dirt by messing with the gain a little bit, or do you go full clean?
All clean. Yeah.
Okay, we're done. I I love effects. I
Yeah.
just moved studios. I'm hoping to get a full rack of like the 75
Oh,
pedals
nice.
I have here. Because everybody needs 3 different compressors. Plus a helix.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
No, I think I'll
So
probably dive into that world at some point. It's just I like it's just one less thing to think about if I just have my one single clean bass tone and just roll with that, I think.
okay, I'm gonna make every boomer bass player, my generation and older, happy right now. Um I have heard your clips. I have heard your bass tone. I haven't heard you live, but the tone really is in the fingers. And so you do have a whole variety of tones. It's like you're not just going out
Mhm.
there, set it and forget it. Are you doing different fingering positions on, favoring pickups? What are you doing to get, some of your distinctive tones without a pedal?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know what I'm doing. So, I guess um yeah, I don't know. I guess just how much I'm attacking it, and you know,
Yeah.
just playing with it. I guess just the fingering. I don't really think about it. It's kind of funny that
Oh,
you
do you
mentioned
hear
that. I
that?
don't know.
Everybody born before 1962 is screaming. Who came up with the whole Kill Bill theme on that thing? That was stroke of genius.
Thank you. So yeah, because I have the Kill Bill reference in the chorus, and so
Right.
I was talking to Snow Owl Media, and we were on the phone, kind of coming up with ideas and stuff. And then we got off the phone, and then I ended up calling him back like 10 minutes later. I was like, "What if we do a Kill Bill thing because of that reference?" And he's like, "I was just talking to my brother, and we were thinking the same thing. I was going to call you." So it was like we both thought of it at the same time. And then,
Awesome.
and then from there, I was like, well, let's just go all Tarantino. We'll put in Reservoir Dogs also, and so that's why we kind of did the suits and all of that stuff. So it was like
I
a
almost
Tarantino
I,
mashup.
I was wondering why I had an urge to watch that movie today. Dude, I want to be respectful. What time do you have to get up tomorrow morning?
Oh, we're good. Don't worry about
Oh no, this is for dramatic purposes. So, hey, dude,
it.
I want to be respectful. What time do you have to get up in the morning tomorrow?
I get up around 8. I leave here about 9 once traffic dies down.
Oh, shoot, you've got banker's hours. Okay.